What the worst "I don't fit in here" experience you've ever had? Submitted by Jetmo7. Went on the company ski trip, which sounds posher than it actually is, and we have to pay for it out of our wages. Had to sit on a dinner table with the heads of the company and some other high-up people from different companies, and the stuff they were talking about in terms of leisure activities were well out of my league. When you try to join the conversation and you get a patronizing smile from one of them who doesn't engage you, conversation has a strange effect on you. Finished my dinner and fucked off to the bar. I'm in my late 20s and going to the same clothing stores I've been going to for over a decade. Seeing 12-plus-year-old girls. Feeling lost. Not knowing where to shop. Wanted to learn to play guitar. Found out about a class for beginner sessions for adults. Call up. They say, yeah, come along, we have a mixed group and we will see you in the morn. Great. Turn up to this little church-like building and head in. Guy says, you must be me 27 to 28 at time. Take a seat and we will get going in a Emin. Please note I'm first to arrive and the seats were tiny, but I didn't think anything of it at the time. Just assumed it was what was available. Next minute a group of small children rush in and take their places. About 5 to 6 years old. With their guitars. Teacher starts taking the lesson. I'm OBV feeling awkward as I'm like Tom Hanks in Big and wanting to get out as soon as possible. Too polite to just get up and walk out. Teacher then announces that we will be getting up on stage at the end to show what we've learned. Please note all these little shits are 10x better than me, but I'm committed now and maybe it won't be so bad. Until the door opens and all of the parents walk in to watch the show. So there I was, sitting on a little chair with my knees higher than my head, strumming along to some tune I couldn't play, surrounded by 5 to 6-year-old and parents looking at me with that face you know wants to laugh. I just dropped everything to pursue a career in art. It's been my dream to open up a shop and to just make things and paint. I've been drawing all of my life and I'm honestly not bad. A few weeks ago, I joined a local artists collective. The first meeting we were showing our art, and my heart dropped. Everyone had these gallery-level social justice pieces and there I was with my greeting card and wedding art. I've always struggled with confidence and imposter syndrome, but that hit me hard just how out of my league this group was. I'm staying in it because I think it will challenge me to expand and grow. But damn, do I feel incompetent every time I see themes here. I'm a college professor. Got my first job out of grad school. Quit at the end of the second year. Found out while quitting that they were about to fire me. It was one of the 10 largest universities in the USA. Today I teach at a tiny liberal arts college. Been there over a decade. And they vote me Professor of the Year an average of once every 3 years. Here I fit. There I didn't. There was big, research-driven, prestige-hungry. Here, they want me to take good care of the students. That I can do. I love my job. I once interviewed for a job and was taken around the office to meet everyone and see how things worked. But it was one of those types of places where they do morning cheers. Everyone is ultra peppy and cutthroat. It was a sales job with competitive territories. And the energy was just too much. As an introverted, laid-back and incompetitive worker, I 100% did not belong in that environment. In southwestern Australia, I was there working for a bit and went out with some locals. We were walking home from the bar when one of them said he wanted to go for a bit of a longer walk. So we detoured around another block. Suddenly we were walking through the bush and then we pop out the other side near this sketchy house. A really sketchy dude comes out, looks at me and asks one of the guys who I am. Monsieur, they say I'm Canadian, and he asks me a few questions, presumably to hear my accent. Then they hand him a few $100s and he hands them a few small bags of drugs. On the way home, the guys I'm with stop, open up one of the bags and smash the contents up on a rock and snort it. I politely decline. Suddenly everyone I'm with is high on meth. Once I was familiar with the area we were in, I got the fuck out of there. Walking into the cafeteria, food in hand, looking around trying to find a place to sit. Or, alright guys, get in partners for this project. And you just sit there with your eyes glued to the desk. Recently moved to China due to work. China is fine and all. Food is exceptionally nice, and the general cost of living is significantly lower. Although I do speak some Mandarin and am somewhat familiar with China due to my mother being Chinese, I do often feel the differences. Like how alien this culture here is to me. It's a very odd feeling. Seeing all these people that look the same as me, yet completely different. A friend invited me to a party at his friend's place. Everyone was dressed in animal masks. Not as in furries. This was like black tie formal but with people wearing realistic giraffe masks. My friend seemed confused that I was dressed normally. I do not speak to him anymore. And #X200B. I still don't know what the deal with that place was. I'm expat Dutch, meaning I was born there, and have a passport. Moving to the Netherlands as a teenager for the first time did not go well. Teenagers are assholes, but even more so if you are any kind of foreign, and don't speak the language perfectly. My first holiday in foster care was Christmas 2010. I was 14 years old. A freshman in high school. I missed my family and I didn't know anyone there except my foster parents. I felt completely like an alien amongst 50 people. I was young, scared, and alone. I went on my phone and my foster mom raised her voice and told me to get off. That made me snap and I started tearing up, so I went outside in the cold to cry by myself so I wouldn't make a scene. I cried behind a car in the dark in the snow that fell a few days prior. This old man comes outside and calmly talks to me. He tells me that he used to be in foster care too. I don't remember what he said exactly, but he made me laugh and feel a little better. That old man turned out to be who I would call Grandpa Ernie a few years down the road. He passed away a couple springs ago. He always made sure everyone felt welcomed and always would break silence with a joke that made everyone laugh. He went through his own hell growing up and he did his best to make sure no one else had to. I watched a lot of Pokemon when I was like 8. I went to a local anime convention and I was so confused and awkward. Everyone was in cosplay and talking about anime and I just sat there looking at my Pokemon cards, all depressed. I came to Germany in 2017 with my MSc in Environmental Sciences from Hungary. A job to find was hard, so I had a plan B. I took a job by Deutsche Bahn, German Railways. I don't really know how to say it in English, but basically I control train stations and set routes for trains. Called Fahrdienstleiter in Germany, look it up if you want to. So I took the schooling. I had my first station, and as an apprentice or something like that I had to go to the tracks and inform people about where their train comes. I felt pretty shitty. It's normally not part of the job. All the passengers were well-suited men and women. Lots of offices around here. And I was in a dirty safety west. I just felt that I belonged to them. Not here. In the end I found myself here. My next job will be at the central station in Nuremberg, which is a pretty big deal. Like a flight control tower with trains. I fucking love trains. Edit. Thanks for the kind comments. In 2007 I went to what I thought was my first AA meeting. It was being held at a church, and when I walked into where the meeting was supposed to take place there was 5 to 6 other men sitting down. I took a seat, and after a couple of moments pass, the meeting starts. If my memory is correct, I was asked to introduce myself. So I said, my name is and I'm an alcoholic. After a few moments, one of the men let me know that I was at a Sex Addicts Anonymous meeting. I apologized and left. Felt really weird about it at the time. but now I just laugh about it. The ball at my college the week before graduation. People have compared it to college prom this year. I never wanted to go, but I won a free ticket in a raffle, so I couldn't pass up saving $90. Doesn't mean I fit in there though. Work mostly. I hate my job because of the toxic environment and coworkers, and in large groups of people where I don't know anybody. I had just moved to a school and I had been put with a buddy to sit with and to show me around school. At that time I had straightened my hair a lot and I am very light-skinned. Well, I sat with my buddy and her friends and they legit started saying stuff like, "Look at that ugly A asterisk asterisk beaner," and "Hey N asterisk 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 asterisk," or "What's up my N asterisk 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 asterisk." They need to go back to their huts in Africa, and it appeared to me that they either didn't know I was black or wanted to make it very clear that they didn't like me. My mom and dad have been divorced since I was 8 years old. So 20 years. My dad has a girlfriend who he's recently moved in with. She has adult children and young grandchildren. Anyway, it was my dad's birthday a little while ago, and I went over to see him, and over the time I was there, more of his girlfriend's family turned up. I didn't fit in. My dad has kept us very separate until the last 12 months. And I've worked really hard on my relationship with my dad over the last few years, but had thought he wasn't able to give me the relationship I wanted to have with him. And I'd come to terms that that is how he is. Except it's not how he is at all, because he has that relationship with his partner's children and grandkids. And I sat there feeling ridiculously out of place. I didn't fit in. He only lives 25 minutes away. But they've all made very little effort with me. But they all see each other a lot. I didn't fit in. And I left after 4 hours, driving back to my home with tears in my eyes, wondering why I was so upset. And then I realized, it's because, once again, it's just another situation where I don't fit in. And I am not gonna lie, that little 8-year-old girl inside of me cried a lot for a week or so. It was by far the worst "I don't fit in here" experience I've had yet. It broke my heart a little, actually. Sorry for rambling. I guess I kinda kept that to myself. After work party with my colleagues. We were just eating some snacks before heading home. But I realized I had nothing in common with any of them this year. I never wished so hard to have said no to something I was invited. I have mild autism and I decided to try doing an autism meetup with other autistic people. Everyone else was way more severe than me. It was fine and an interesting perspective, but it wasn't my kind of place. I'm a white guy who's into alt-rock and I had some Jamaican friends at work. They invited me to a basement party. They called it Splash. Exactly like what you see in the Sean Paul "Get Busy" video. I loved it and everyone was very cool, but man, did I feel like I stuck out. My first time out drinking after I turned legal age, I ended up in the smoke pit of the strip club, talking about Jesus. Took me 2 years of working at a place to realize just two-faced and toxic most of my former coworkers were, except for a handful. Realized most of them didn't like me, so I left.